Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light.
Well, folks, it's time for another episode of the Soul Sessions. I am, of course, your host, as always, Soul. But with me today, a former champion, a former Iron Girders King of the Fling champion himself, Robbie Cardwell. Welcome, my friend.
Hello, thank you very much for having me on the show. I am very excited for this interview. I've something I've actually been hoping to do for a long time. So I've seen the show and seen other wrestlers in Scotland on the show. So I've been hoping we would get to have a chat one day.
Oh, kind words, my friend, and it's great to have you here. We finally have this moment, and it's no better time than the present, as they say. But you know what, Robbie? We do it with every guest of the show, and we'll continue to do it until the end of time. Every guest has a story. Every story has a beginning. Robbie, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
Oh, so as a wrestling fan, it all dates back to it all dates back to WWE. I never watched like TNA or like any indie stuff when I was younger. I knew what it was and I've seen it on TV, but it was always WWE. My grandparents had Sky, so I could watch see the 1 hour Monday Night Raw highlights they would put on Sky, where like anytime somebody took like a chair shot or get flung against a table, you would get this random cut to the crowd. That was my taste in wrestling.
Wow. Little bursts of action, that little snippets can catch it just like that. And it shows about wrestling. It has that gotcha moment. There's many gotcha moments. People remember, obviously, Mick Foley falling off the Undertaker's Hell in a Cell. Many people remember CM Punk's pipe bomb. The Miz cashing in on Randy Orton. It's always those moments. Robbie, give me some of your favorite wrestling moments that are like little snippets, but they're so monumental.
So I'll stick to like my timeline of watching wrestling. Also, like you say, you can go back and you've got like Mankind being fallen off the cage, the Miz cashing in on Orton. Like they are moments, but for me, timeline wise, moments you've got like CM Punk's heel turn on Raw 1000. You've got kind of more recent times. You've got Cody dethroning Roman at Mania 40, and then. And amongst that, you've got all the weird stuff like the Roman Reigns dog food stuff they did at one point. Like there's moments, and then like I suffered through like the bad wrestling spell before it got good again. I had to like deal with that. So there's not a lot of like high end moments. It's quite downhill. Rollins cashing in Mania 31. That's top tier for me.
Yeah, I mean, all good moments. You have to deal with the good and the bad. For every Seth Rollins cash in, there's Lana, Bobby Lashley, and Rusev love triangle. So, I mean...
That was peak television, and I will hear nothing else. That was storyline writing genius. That was terrible.
Robbie, come on now.
That was awful. I remember watching that, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I actually watching? This isn't professional wrestling.
Do you think it speaks to how really maybe the romance side of wrestling doesn't really work? I mean, we have that. We have Katie Vick. We have the last that AJ Styles had in TNA. Do you think romance doesn't work in wrestling?
Yes and no. I think like legit on-screen couples, if they want to be packaged together, if that's kind of their thing, totally go for it. Like if they bring out the best in each other, brilliant. I don't think trying to convince folk that two people are in love on a wrestling show is the thing anymore. I think that's definitely a thing of the past, but I think we've moved on to like more sports entertainment style wrestling rather than just like soap opera wrestling, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. It's no real EastEnders or anything like that. It's more, up there with other forms of entertainment. Maybe something like Line of Duty with that drama-based aspect to it. We have that in our wrestling now. Obviously, though, a big thing for the WWE is its current partnership with TKO being taken over, and now it's a whole new entity in itself. On Netflix, it has this great reach. From a foreign fans' point of view, seeing where wrestling was before on Sky Sports, for especially us in the UK, and now it's on Netflix, where you could walk in and see your parents watching Stranger Things, and then see a Next Time with like Raw or something at the bottom. Just your thoughts on having wrestling on that global platform like Netflix.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to wrestling. It's from my point of view, like I would always try and find wrestling no matter where it was, whether I had to go to like YouTube, specific websites for companies, that kind of stuff. But seeing like my friends and family who aren't interested in wrestling being able to be like, oh, have you watched WWE? It's on Netflix now. I went to Raw in London with my uncle who doesn't really know much about wrestling, but being able to like sit together, watch the couple of shows beforehand and be like, right, this is what you're going to be in for this week. And then my cousins who are younger and watch like the women's wrestling and are getting really into it now, being able to just have it at like 2 clicks of a finger on a phone screen is pretty cool for folk like that. It's something I'm actually jealous I didn't have when I was that age. Like, it was so hard to just acquire wrestling when I was that age. But now I'm an adult, I've got like silly adult money I can play about with, and yeah, I can get wrestling whenever.
Exactly. Silly adult money. I know that all too often because I'm broke half the time with all the stuff I buy. I mean,
Exactly. That's this is money. Money is there to be spent.
correct the bundle, my friend. We've got to keep the economy alive somehow, and that's by spending it on all these expensive things WWE have. Speaking of, obviously, WWE, this new era, obviously, things continue on, and it's great things, but obviously there's news stories coming out about, R-Truth not being renewed with the company, which is a shame in itself because he's such a talented performer. Just your thoughts on the news about R-Truth.
It's never nice to hear that anyone loses a job, like in any industry, and especially like the outreach that somebody like R-Truth has had. Like, he was always the go first memory of R-Truth was him and Kofi Kingston as tag team champions back in 2012. So it's somebody that no matter like if I've been jumping in and out of WWE phases or like spells of what I watch, maybe one week I'm watching this, I'm watching something else, he was always somebody that was around, and I will miss laughing at him on my TV.
Absolutely. R-Truth is a truly funny individual, multiple time 24/7 champion. I don't even want to get into how many times he's actually held that belt. Mixed Knowledge Challenge guy. He's done it all. He's quite a fascinating individual, and I hope he lands on his feet wherever he goes next. It's just a shame of the wrestling business of how it has that aspect. But obviously, as well, we've talked about how wrestling is so widely available with Netflix, and we're seeing a lot of stars transcend the wrestling bubble. You see Rhea Ripley is on everyone's TikTok and Instagram. You see moves from like Will Ospreay are in like compilations of crazy moments, and it gets the general public's attention. Is it quite interesting? Do you think we're building like these new types of wrestling fans with how widespread wrestling is becoming in the general public knowledge?
100, yeah, definitely. I think wrestling, like you say, has like we have transcended stars from being wrestlers to being like influencers almost. There's this kind of weird line of like there are your professional wrestlers, and then there are like people who are above professional wrestlers. Like, no, not to say like they're above being a professional wrestler, but that kind of stardom barrier of, oh, this is just like somebody that is a professional wrestler, whereas this is somebody that is a worldwide superstar. Like, you're all over your TikToks, Instagrams, all those socials, like Roman Reigns, Rhea Ripley, those kind of names. I think brilliant, and it brings more people in. Like, the more people that enjoy wrestling, the more people that come to shows, the more people that support our local shows. It's never a bad thing having more wrestling fans.
No, absolutely not. And you always got to have these new fans because older fans will sometimes fall out of love with the product or they'll move on to other things. You always need those new, fresh faces to replenish what you lose, obviously, with the nature of time.
Yeah.
So it's an always important thing to have. But you know what, Robbie, I want to talk about your story. How did you become involved with the wrestling scene?
So I started wrestling in 2019 at the PBW Academy alongside a friend of mine who I was with at school at the time. Third year at high school would have been when I started wrestling. So that's yes, it's. I don't know if I'd recommend starting at that age. I'd probably wait till you're like 16 or so. That way you're kind of adult and your kind of body begins to function a bit more. Like, you've kind of had a bit more growth on you. There's probably a bit more like padding to folk when they're that age. Like, you can, if you want to start younger, absolutely go for it. But that age is probably a good age to start. And that's, yeah, so I got my start through a friend who was like, hey, you need to come to the school. If you love wrestling, like, you'll love this. And then that happened. And then, so I did about a year there. And then once we had the pandemic in 2020, it was ICW, GPWA, that were one of the first schools to open back up for private sessions. And that is how I met my current and to this day mentor, BT Gunn, who trains at Iron Girders.
Hey, fascinating story there, mate. You mentioned obviously starting in the third year of high school, and obviously for people who may not be familiar with the Scottish education system, it's a mess as it always is. But there's 6 years to high school. I want to know, how did you find balancing your studies along with wrestling training?
I usually just skip school to go train. To be totally
Respect.
honest, like it was weird because third year wasn't really an important year in the UK, or sorry, in Scotland for school. It's one of them ones that's like you just kind of kick it out. It's like 4, 5, and 6 is where the important stuff happens. But obviously, being in a pandemic, there was no school to go to or anything. So that meant I had all this free time in between school to go and wrestle and train. And then eventually, when we get put back into classrooms, I had what we called volunteering periods. It was just a kind of an excuse to skive. So mine was like at the end of a Tuesday. So I had a whole Tuesday afternoon off. And I'd get the train from Largs all the way up to Glasgow, go and train, and then get the train back home and go to school the next day. That was brilliant.
My God, man, you're literally like Marty McFly if he went into the wrestling world and all that kind of craziness. I mean, that's quite a hell of a journey, mate, and a good autobiography.
Oh, thank you. It's almost like I almost miss it. It was such a simple time. Like it was like see before having a full-time job and then having to balance doing stuff at the weekend and get training around work schedules and stuff. I actually miss being able to just be like, oh, you know what? I'll get the 10 to 1 train and be home for 11:30. That's cool. Like
The pains of growing up. The
I
pains.
know, responsibilities and whatnot.
I know. How dare we have to have those? God damn it. You obviously mentioned the ICW school, Glasgow Pro Wrestling Asylum. A great school in itself. I know that I've trained a lot of people across Scotland, from the likes of Ellie Armstrong, Mark McAllister, and so many others who have done that as well. For yourself, in that experience of being a part of the asylum, what was it like?
It was great, honestly. Like I met so many amazing people there and had brilliant opportunities handed to me whilst I was part of GPWA. Like I met BT Gunn, like I said, that's where I met him. Must have been like 16 when I met him. And then kind of on and off training with like nationwide lockdowns and then only been able to do like limited contacts training. Eventually, by the time we got to like full contact, everyone could go back to training. I must have been about 17 at the time. And that's when we went into full classes. And there was the likes of your Martin McAllisters, your Mikey Devines, your Rabus, your Moxie Malones, Eddie Castles. And then we had like your higher up, like your big guys, like your Stars, your Kez Evans, and your Leighton Buzzards. They were in training as well with us. So meeting all these people and being able to learn from so many folk, I had some brilliant opportunities. Like at the age of 17, I was main eventing the £5 wrestling against Kez Evans. Like I don't think it was much more I could be asking for at that time.
I think it just shows that Scottish people are, well built when we can build stars and build these great talented individuals like yourself and so many others because we have that passion and drive. Now, obviously, BT Gunn, BT, I've seen him wrestle in person, and he's a ferocious guy. He's quite a guy. I mean, to learn under him as well, that's got to be insane, right, mate?
Yeah, he's got like a totally different mind for wrestling. He's like honestly, BT Gunn has a mind I've never ever seen before. Obviously, it's because he's been doing it for so long. Like he's been wrestling for 20 plus years or however long it is, and he was somebody that I would see at local shows at the Viking Gar Leisure Centre in Largs, and now to be like under his wing, like it is mind blowing when I see the pictures of like me back then meeting the wrestlers to now me being the wrestler that like folk come and meet at the end of a show. That's the kind of like the wee switch to go, oh, I am literally like living the dream right now. I'm getting to do something I love. I'm learning from one of the most respected workers in not just Scottish wrestling, but in UK and Europe right now. Yeah, he is the man. Like at the end of the day, that he is the man. I have nothing but nice things to say about him. Apart from his chops, my God, they suck. Like they suck.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine taking those, mate. I think it would pop
Like
a lung.
sounds like a gunshot's gone off in the building. Like that is how it sounds.
Yeah, that's a nasty one. Truly indeed. Now, obviously, a place we really call home, obviously, is now Iron Girders. Can't speak highly of it enough. It's a great place. I never had Molly Spartan on talk about the facility, and then obviously Martin, Ellie, Tommy Lockhart, all of these people talk about the facilities. But I want to know for yourself, Robbie, what does it mean to you to have the amazing facilities at Iron Girders at your disposal?
Phenomenal. Like, I can't praise the gym enough for like all the hard work that they put into making us the best we can be. Like they've got a full weightlifting gym facility, and to be able to book the ring for like private kind of time, like you can have your one-to-one functions and stuff with your coaches. You can book it out to learn off other students. So like if myself and my tag partner Gabriel Saul wanted to book the ring out, we work on some stuff together, train together, we can do that. The weekly classes that are offered there as well are of the highest standard to coaches from KOE, BT Gunn, Kez Evans, Casey. Like these are some of the names that we're getting to learn off of right now. It's like one of the highest praises I can say is the training standard at Iron Girders Gym.
Of course, absolutely. And obviously, the owner of Iron Girders is obviously former NXT UK champion and tag team champion Wolfgang. And Wolfgang's an amazing wrestler in himself, obviously part of Gallus. Obviously, sadly, they were released from the company. But I want to know, Robbie, if they came back to Scotland, what would that mean for the scene to see the Gallus boys back on top in Scotland?
I think it would really help flourish the scene a bit. I definitely think we're in this kind of upward way again. Like there's lots of big names coming back over to Scottish wrestling. ICW are certainly bringing in a lot of big talent as well. Iron Girders have been bringing in some great talent over the last year. We have had like Jonathan Gresham, Eric Young, Scotty Too Hotty. Like there's been some great talent in at the gym. I think if those guys came back, but they would tear through some folk. Like they are huge, huge guys. I would not want to be on the other end of that ring, but I would, because you would learn some amazing things. It's high risk, high reward.
A trial by fire. You got to get in there to get burned. I mean, I know if somehow I walked into a pub and saw the Gallus boys there, I would walk right out and say, lads, we're not going here. It's too dangerous. We're gonna have to go somewhere else because it's
Grandpa Simpson when he walks in like the brothel and he sees Bart and he just spins right back round and goes out the door. That would be it.
Yeah, it's like, boys, bull out here. It ain't gonna end well for us because those
not the night. Not the night.
No. Is there some dream matchups though? You want to see either Wolfgang, the Coffees face in Scotland if they do return?
I'm honestly not too sure, like dream match wise. I just think it'd be great to have them in Iron Girders gym and getting to mix it up with the likes of myself, Martin McAllister, Tommy Lockhart, Brannigan, Gabriel Saul. All these guys that are coming through now against like those established names. I always think it's brilliant when we get to work with people like that because it's the learning experience you get from being in the ring with somebody with so much experience. Like Wolfgang has been wrestling longer than I've been alive. That is a scarily cool tactic. Or tactic? What's the
statistic?
Statistic. That's the one. That is a terrifying number to think that man has more in-ring experience than I just have general life experience. Like.
Oh, the scary thing of time, my friend. And I hope the Gallus boys are doing well, and I honestly can't wait to see them come back to Scotland because it's going to make a very big impact nonetheless in our scene. Now, of course, Robbie, you've done some things that some other wrestlers haven't achieved. You've won gold. Obviously, you were the King of the Fling champion in Iron Girders. I want to know, what did it mean to you to become the second champion dethroning Moxie Malone?
So it's a time that I look back on fondly. When you win something of that kind of nature, like not everyone gets to hold these things. Like there's going to be people in their career that don't ever reach the championship sometimes, and that's how it is. Like people are. It's about the hard work that I've put into this kind of gym. It's about all the hard work I do outside the gym. It just really meant a lot in the sense of we are giving you. Here is the ball, take it and run. Like you've been given this amazing opportunity, and I just did everything I could to push the championship to new heights. Whether it was representing Iron Girders gym at Comic-Con, I did a visit up to an education facility in Edinburgh with the championship as well. I took it around all the classrooms, got to meet all the kids, took pictures with the belts and stuff. Like, carrying myself as a champion, which means I am on posters for Iron Girders, I am all over graphics on social media, being basically like a figurehead and a representative of the gym. It's an awesome kind of standard to bear yourself to. So that's one of the best times I've had in my career. It was really special to me, and I'd love to get back some Iron Girders gold at some point this year.
Of course, me, absolutely. And it is immortalized not only just in Scotland, but the World Wide Web, because you're on Tony Khan's favorite website, Cage Match.
Exactly.
That's going to be quite. Would it be quite anxious and quite like nerve-wracking to know that that favorite time of your career is immortalized in a platform that can be seen by thousands?
Yeah, like social media is insane. Like database websites and social media. Like I have done social media, like kind of training and courses, and I still don't get it, to be totally honest. Like I slap a picture up every couple of days and like a wee collage and stuff. And all this stuff, you can go back and anyone can go and look at it. Like anyone can look back at my King of the Thing matches, my time as champion highlights, all the cage match stuff. Like to be immortalized, like you say, on these websites and on these pages as the champion is so cool. And it's something I love about technology and social media, but it also terrifies me.
It is a very double-edged tool, I would say, not only just for wrestling, but for life, because it can be so rewarding. It's how we connected through here and able to do that across the country and people around the world. But obviously there is that dark side to it. And obviously there's been some things in jobs that they offer social media training courses. Do you think social media training classes should be a mandatory thing for professional wrestling as well?
2000%, yeah. Especially for people just breaking in. Like I kind of had to figure it out as I went along, but at the gym we have people that manage the social medias. Kat Wolf, who does a lot of the emceeing and announcing as well, who is part of the social media team. Like to have her and be able to ask her questions about social media and being like an influencer with such a high platform and a platform that she carries to a high standard. We'll always be thankful for that, because at the end of the day, I've got two big thumbs and the keyboards are getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, it's very true. Soon they'll be on our wrist or something like that, or heck, even in our heads.
Yeah, half them are on the wrists now. You get like the Apple Watches and stuff. I could probably press the entire keyboard with a thumb. Like it's ridiculous. But being able to have somebody that can kind of like not coach, but just give you some tips on how to really make yourself stand out as a brand is always something I'm thankful for. And I always say like the younger ones, but I'm one of the younger people at Iron Girders. Like the newer students coming in, it's definitely something that they should be focusing on, like how to really manage yourself as a brand.
Absolutely, because you never know when a promoter could just be scrolling around and see like a image of you in your gear, or you doing a move or a clip or a video, and you could possibly get a booking, because it could possibly lead to you getting an income. And that's what's something about social media is always really important to know, that there's always people watching from any scale, from independent to even a big wig. There's always somebody watching, right?
Yeah, like 100%. Yeah, like you never know who is going to look at what you do. I could post a video and it could do my usual kind of numbers, or one day randomly the algorithm might just be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna chuck you a bone, and there's 60,000 likes, 10,000 comments, 1,000,000 shares. Like, and this video totally blows up, and then boom, for like a week, you're in everyone's eyesight. The whole world is seeing you, and then people come to your page, they want to see what you're about. And if you get like 3 posts up and it's a promo picture from 3 years ago as your main one, and you've not had a match on a show in 6 months, then they're going to see it and be like, oh, well, this guy was like, he was a blink and you've missed it kind of thing. Whereas if they see that you're consistently on shows, you've got nice updated pictures, all your wrestling gear looks really high standard, then they're going to look at you and go, wow, there must be something really special about this guy. I'm gonna give him a message and see if he can come and work on a show for me. Like it's always about how you present yourself as a brand, because at the end of the day, people have the attention spans of like the snap of a finger these days. A lot of your stuff gets played, but you'll find it says played 800 times, full viewings 500. So 300 people have maybe watched 2 seconds of what you posted, but only 500 people have actually kind of looked at the entire thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it is just that, short attention span that Vine killed in like 2015, bloody 7-second clip things. How
Yeah.
could it? Well, hey, it's dead now. It got killed off by Instagram or whatever. Nature of the life. Hey, that's how it goes. But obviously, Scottish wrestling has got such a great showcase from the places like Iron Girders, ICW, and so many others, that the big wigs, the big companies are really taking notice. And obviously, AEW are coming over to the Hydro in August for Dynamite and Collision. WWE were here before, obviously, for their first Scottish pay-per-view in Clash of the Castle Scotland. To see that showcase from the big companies, does it really make you feel appreciated of what yourself, all the others are doing on independent level to get that notice to the scene?
Yeah, so when the WWE come over, there's a lot of like just kind of like mummers and stuff. Like, there's always, they need extra work sometimes, like they need bodies for extra kind of like your guys that get put through tables, like Levi, who was the driver of a BMW, fitting, giving he's being a bit of an arsehole right now. And they get put through like a table and all that, but Damien Priest, like they're always looking for folk for work like that. They always look at the local schools, and if we had an in with, like you say, Wolfgang, formerly being part of NXT, when they come over here, they go, right, well, who do we know that's got a training school? Oh, Wolfgang, he's got a training school. Let's go look at some of their guys, which would be like the likes of myself. And then TNA have just signed Harley Hudson as well from the UK. There's loads of great opportunities with big companies, and I think that is down to just the hard work of people in Scotland and the rest of the UK right now.
Absolutely. It really speaks to, I think, our work ethic as well, that people like Harley Hudson can get signed to TNA, Leon Slater doing great things in TNA as well. A man like Darius really getting his showcasing moment as well. It is fascinating. Is it really just, you think, our work ethic and pride that really makes UK wrestlers so amazing?
I think like wrestling's an escape. So if a lot of folk, wrestling's like make or break, like they have to get this, otherwise it's like 9 to 5 kind of stuff, which I've always avoided. I've never, like, I can't do office jobs. It's just not me. Like I work landscape maintenance because it's physical. I like to be creative and that kind of thing, and that's what I'm good at and I know. So when you apply that to wrestling, the physicalness, the being creative, a lot of it goes hand in hand. And this is something that I think people are so passionate about and want to be the absolute best that they can be, which for a lot of people is the best in the world. Then absolutely, when the big companies take notice, folk bring their A game out. But I think we should just always be in our A game. That way the big companies take even more notice.
Absolutely, my friend. I think you're 100% right there, and I can't wait to see what you achieve with this, because I think you'll go right to the top, and soon you'll be having the gunshot chops, and then BT Gunn will be afraid. That's when it's going to be really kicking in. Like, Robbie, we're coming to the end of our time here on the Soul Sessions, but one final question before we wrap up, my friend. Everyone always asks the dream match, but I like to make it a bit different. What is your dream match stipulation you would love to be a part of?
So always, like, I love stipulation wrestling. Sometimes it's so silly. Like, I could get one day, I could be like, you know what, dog kennel match, the one where they had like the cage inside the cage with all the like, it's just so ridiculous that it's like, that would be so cool to say you've done it. But then at the same time, Jeff Hardy's my favorite wrestler of all time. TLC matches and ladder matches are pretty cool. Like, that would be pretty fun. And then you've got deathmatch wrestling as well, which, like, it's such a big kind of space. If I had to go 3, I can't pick one. I'll go in order. Number 1, TLC. Number 2, some form of deathmatch, and number 3, the dog kennel. Because why not?
Fair play, mate. I mean, all three. Why not all 3 of those at the same time? Just do it.
3 stages of hell. There you go. 3 stages
Oh.
of hell, and that's the matches.
You creative man, goddamn, he's got it there, folks. He's thought of it, put it to fruition, and he's gave Vince Russo a run for his money. So I take that.
I'm gonna phone Wolfgang right now and be like, "We got any dog cages lying about?"
Can we just rent some chihuahuas for a couple of matches? I mean, it works, man. But you know what, Robbie? It's been a pleasure to have you here on the Soul Session. And of course, folks, if you love what you heard from Robbie himself, I'll put a link to his Instagram down below. You can click it, follow his journey, see what he gets up to. And of course, remember always, Iron Girders have their Iron Clash shows, which are on YouTube every Wednesday, I believe, Robbie, as well.
Yes, every Wednesday. I've noticed a couple of them getting uploaded on Fridays as well sometimes. So Wednesday, Friday, typically every Wednesday, look out for them. That's where you'll catch myself and all the other stars of Iron Girders.
Absolutely, folks. So yeah, Iron Girders on YouTube. You get to see Robbie in action, and you get to see you saw him before he gets to the top of the UK scene, because he'll do it. I believe in him, and you should too. Well, as I say, folks, as a good Scotsman, finish up your pint, put your chairs away, and thank you as always for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions.
Now about the humans who gonna live like animals do. No more laws and no more rules. No more body, no more rules. No more heaven, no